on all frames and sunglasses at Eyes First. Style meets savings. Don't miss out on a chance to upgrade your look or buy that second pair without breaking the bank. Visit us in the Cable Building on Keon Street or call 465-9521. Hurry! Sale applies this month only.
Eight 33 in the studio here at ZLIZ Radio 96.1 and ZLIZonline.com. 7:33 for my people in Austin, Texas, and Houston, Texas, and McHenry, Illinois. Shout out, thanks you guys for listening, keeping you abreast of the time as well. Welcome to our show On the Road. In the studio with me, I have Officer Bell this morning. Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Good morning, GQ. Good morning to ZIZ Land. I'm good.
Great. Welcome to our studio, and welcome to another edition of On the Road. What's on the table for discussion this morning, sir?
Well, today we're mostly going to be speaking on the reasons or the main factors for the rise of accidents in the country. The different offenses that contribute to the rise in accidents.
Well, this should be interesting.
Yes.
We have definitely seen, an increase. It's almost daily. So I'm welcoming the knowledge this morning. But before we get into that, talk about accidents. Yesterday we had a conversation about the law as it relates to giving someone a ride who has a child, but you as a driver do not have a seat for that child or a car seat for that child.
Yes.
The law stipulates that if you do so,
Yes.
you will be charged $500. That's correct.
Yes.
That's the ticket.
Yes.
A number of scenarios were raised in terms of why that should be reconsidered or be amended. And I would love to hear from you before we get into our conversation as it relates. And as a matter of fact, it can tie into accidents.
Yes.
Before we continue our conversation, what's your response to people from the law end as it relates to why you're implementing this law?
You said you got some scenarios. Could you share one?
One of the scenarios, well, I'll share two. One has to do with it's raining and you see someone with a child and you decide to give them a lift, but you don't have a car seat. Should that driver be charged, or should he bypass that person because he knows or she knows that they don't have a car seat and let that person get wet with the child? Scenario one. Scenario number two, you see someone struggling with the groceries and still have the child, and you decide to be a good Samaritan and give that person a ride. But you don't have a car seat. Those there are plenty more, but I'll just share those two.
Okay, I could give you the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. Yes, police officers could use their discretion based on the situation. I personally wouldn't pass someone with a child if it's raining badly and there's nowhere for them to shelter. I would give them a lift. I would assist them. I would use my discretion with that. But with me being a good Samaritan, if I drive up that road, get into an accident, that child get injured, no, I cannot claim for my insurance for that person because I didn't exercise the safety precautions by law to ensure that child is safe. Now, the medical expenses come up to maybe $50,000, $70,000, $100,000. That parent who was in the back seat, who you were trying to help out, would be now pressuring you to compensate them. They don't care if the insurance honor the claim or not. So you being a good Samaritan could turn you to be the worst person to that person. So, all I would say, the law states one thing. If you want to be contrary, that would be on your own merit.
What would you say about the cost? Some indicated yesterday that the cost should be reduced, and I'm one of them, back to $150. And instead of having the truck drivers being ticketed $100, that should be increased. What's your take?
My take is the truck pricing should increase, and the seatbelt and the car seat should remain at the 500. Because when it was lower, and we found that about 1 or 2 children got seriously injured in traffic accident, the public was crying out to increase the price so persons could get to take it more serious. So now that the price is increased and they are being affected now because majority of them are the offenders, it's on the ball in their court now. So they're crying for it to be reduced.
Okay.
So
in other words, you're saying the public shall make a change.
yes. And now the change is made. They want another change. So we try to please people, but we can't please everybody. So at the end of the day, we just have to stand for what we stand for. So I agree. The truckers carrying cargo, not covering down properly, speeding, whatever it happens with trucks, should be increased because they are of higher risk. But when it comes to child safety, that should be priority for persons. Persons shouldn't be crying out for police stamping down to ensure that children are safe.
We're going to hear from the callers in just a bit. But before I open the line, or the lines, by the way, the numbers to call, 465-1977, 1903, that's 465-1903, and 662-8674. How can I put this? You know what? The phone ringing. Let me take this call because this one is a difficult one to share. Good morning. You're live.
Good morning, Mr. Library. Good morning to the elder.
Good
Others in
morning.
the studio, the police officers. Good morning to them.
Good morning, sir.
Officer, in your introduction this morning, I love and endorse your topic. I also endorse Mr. Libert's question and your response. What is so apparent about safety? In your mission statement, a little significant part speaks of what you spoke of this morning. However, even though there are something else on my agenda, I want to speak to you about what I experienced on 2 occasions. On the 15th of July and the 23rd of July, respectively, there was a car, P2595, a white Lexus, traveling along the Boardwalk Road from the seaport towards Central Bank, was in the lane that command anyone to exit to go into Rams Cash and Carry. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Good. Instead of going into the lane that goes straight or to turn left, that goes into the opposite lane, that gives them right to go into Rams Cash and Carry, thinking that they're going there because there was no traffic coming to us. They went and occupied the lane going straight ahead. The same vehicle on the 23rd, there was approaching the roundabout at Central Bank. And instead of using the lane to go towards Rams, they used the lane to go to Frigate Bay. I do not know who the person is, and I am not sure you want to say who, but you all know. The systems will give all you the right and understanding to know. To speak to that person. To speak to them politely so that they understand, because they're doing things, it's contrary to what it is we are listening to all say to prevent and protect and make people safe, motorists and pedestrians. However, that person, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, for sure they're not Mario Andretti, neither Danica Patrick. He's an IndyCar racer. But I'm asking you all to speak to them because I am concerned. A lot of us will say we are a big man. Really? What is a big man does to society? We need to be metro man. Officers, Mr. Libert, I thank you all for listening. Have a good day. Goodbye.
Thank you, caller.
Your response?
Well, I recorded that vehicle number. I will check in the system and figure out who the owner is and have a conversation with them. You know, sometimes persons deny the accusations. Ain't much I can do other than speak to that person unless there is facts or evidence to prosecute that person. And that's why we continue to encourage persons to, utilize the duty-free concession to have dash cams in their vehicle. So we can encourage persons to be more fearful when they break in the lock or they don't know who is watching. And as we spoke about the trucks, the traffic department is having a truckers meeting at the training school tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Okay.
So any concerns the public will have about truckers or the truckers may have about our laws, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow and we can hopefully live on mutual understanding.
Let's go to the line. Good morning, you're live.
Hey, morning, buddy.
Hey, morning.
Morning, Officer Ben. Two things. Speeding. What can you do to reduce speeding? It needs more speed bumps. Even half of the main road, and I can tell about my road, Ringfield, right? That's like a jack race. Man, just fly up and fly down. Yeah, and like I'm just speak to the drivers, right? Nothing is been happening. I can see in the near future that cameras gonna be in place where tickets gonna start to issue for going over the speed limit. I can see that happening because we're not here. Yeah. I heard what you said about the public cry out, and now they get the change, they want another change. The thing about it that maybe you might know or maybe you may not know, but when it comes to increasing introducing fines, how does the traffic department go about it? Because yes, we have cried out about having tickets for car seats, but what we are saying is that it is too high. 500 is too high. Even if it reduced to 250, I think it will be better. And I'm not trying to deter, the traffic department from helping to the police make us safe on the road. But the $500, you need to cut down to at least 250. That's what we're saying. But I wanted to introduce more speed bumps around the island and off of the main road. That's one way to reduce traffic accidents. All right, buddy.
All right,
yes.
Cool.
The speed bumps, Winfield Road, is that so smooth for persons to be driving that fast, though?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bucky, you're a very influential person. I think you need to go to the Old Road Police Station, have a conversation with the supervisors, and let them forward the concerns to the licensing authority. And I could attest, persons have written before for speed bumps, especially in school areas, certain areas, and they also agree to assist the police with getting the materials and stuff to try to make it faster. And we're willing to help persons, but for him to just get up and say it all the time, or we say go through one ear, come out the other. Put it in writing. Put it in writing, at least you could know you submitted something officially, and if they ignore you, then you could always use it against them. Okay?
Good point.
The reduction of the fee. You see, when you set a fee for persons to be comfortable with, that's when they're going to break the law more, because they feel, okay, it's just $250, I could pay $250. But when they hear $500, it put them to think twice. So if we're reducing the fee to please the public, it's because of what they feel comfortable paying.
I get you. So
I still would leave the fee at $500.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, a pleasant Wednesday morning, G, to you and the officer there.
Good morning.
In the studio.
Good morning.
I am listening attentively to everything that you're saying, and I have a problem with what is not being discussed. We're going to talk about that car seat store with giving someone a lift.
Yes.
I listened to the caller who just called in and talk about the switching of the lanes and the wrong lanes and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Do we realize or have we understand that the major problems in traffic accidents that can result in death are from 4 simple things that could be done to vehicles that nobody is paying attention to? I'm going to tell you something. Traffic accidents are caused with persons running on smooth tires. Your tires are smooth, they need to be changed. We're not changing them because we got expensive vehicles and the big tires, them cost money. Mm-hmm. If you're on a wet road and you lose control, you're in a problem. Something is going to go totally wrong. Traffic accidents are caused with persons running on 4 tires and the pressure in the tires are off. Your tires has to be equalized. All 4 tires have to have the same amount of pressure. But people run up and down the place and 1 tire soft and 3 tire up or 2 tire soft or whatever, and nobody cares. Mm-hmm. You got people who have 3 tires, 4 tires, had a situation, got a puncture, and put the spare tire on the vehicle. Mm-hmm. They continue to run with that spare tire for months. Instead of replacing the tire, your vehicle is now off balance. Because the spare tire is only to get you from point A to point B. It's not a tire that you run on constantly. Wet roads, smooth tires, uneven air pressure. You got people overtaking, speeding and overtaking sometimes on corners. You cannot overtake on a corner where you're flying going. So, yes, we have a problem with accidents, but we're not dealing with the problems and the situation that cause major accidents in the Federation. And those are some of the examples. You got people who have been distracted by whether a phone call or changing a radio or whatever. Somebody said on a commercial, don't be distracted by talking. I could drive and talk to you. I don't have to take my eye off the road to talk to you. But there's simple issues that causes traffic accidents on the island that can be dealt with and seriously dealt with. When you do inspections of vehicle, don't let your inspections of vehicle go for just driver's license and insurance and say if you got your sticker for the year. Do a thorough check. The tires, the indicator lights. You got people getting accident because somebody's turning off in front of them with no indicator light. How would I know where you're turning? I'm going straight and you suddenly turn in front of me. That's an accident. There are so many things that causes accidents that we do not, again I repeat, look deeply into. GQ, continue to have a good day. Take care of your officer. Please, let us enforce the laws and enforce the laws thoroughly, but look into the very small details that we tend to overlook. The tires, the spare tires, the smooth tires. Those are the things we need to look into. Have a pleasant day and take care. God bless. GQ love always. Bye-bye.
All right, take care.
Thank you, caller, for your call. Yes, those examples you gave can cause accidents, have caused accidents. But out of all the examples that she gave, only one stood out based on the stats. What we consider would have been a major fact for the cause of the accident would have been speeding. Mm-hmm. Now, she speak about the smooth tires and all of that. Yes, those contribute greatly to accidents. But based on the accidents that have happened, very little were because of tires. It was more because of speeding, persons driving under the influence of drug or alcohol, persons failing to comply with the traffic signs, for example, at Sands Complex on the Bay Road. Persons make a right turn to go into Port Zante all the time when there's a sign there say clearly no right turn, and there is always an accident right there. It's always an accident. Persons trying to beat the yellow light or the red light, they get into accidents. They failing to comply with the traffic signs and directions around the area. And most of it is contributed from people being impatient. So I would not deny that the caller points are not valid, but
statistically
statistically here is very low because of tires.
Talk about questions and statistics for here. Is there a fee for improper use of child seat?
Improper use, I don't. Could that person clarify? What they mean improper? I mean if the child is in this car seat but not
strapped in
properly. The car seat fee is one standard fee. Yes, if the child is in the car seat, the child should be strapped in. The child should be strapped in. However, based on my experience, and I wouldn't speak for nobody else,
right.
I have stopped vehicles once I can ensure that yes, a car seat is there and the child is in the back. I don't really thoroughly check to see if it's strapped in or not.
Okay.
And the officer would be more discretionary if the child is in the car seat and not strapped, because you could say, well, I was just trying to feed the child is in the car seat, what's not? You know, maybe you're changing a pamper, you just put back in the child. You know, we use our discretion. But if there's no seat belt at all, car seat at all, then you don't have any excuse.
All right.
I don't know if I answered that question properly for that person.
Well, they're responding. In the meantime, while they're responding, let me get this next question over to you, and then we'll go back to the phone line. This person is asking, is there a legal requirement for truckers to cover the load they transport? Reason being, too much flying objects fall on other drivers and walkers, especially dirt and sand.
Yes, it's not just truckers. Anyone transporting cargo, trash, anything, should have a net properly securing whatever is behind, and they should have a red flag, I think. I don't want to say it's definitely a requirement, but I know they should have a red flag to indicate, you know, they have cargo on board and it's a hazard.
Let's go back to the phone line. Good morning, you're live.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm calling. Is that either?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm calling regarding the situation with seat belts, car seats for children. I have a concern. I love children, and I understand the need for the children to be protected. I have a question and a statement. If a parent is sitting in the back of a car with a child, holding the child in their lap with the seatbelt on them, and there's an accident, they can see what is happening. Wouldn't the parent's natural instinct be more to save the child than the child being in a car seat, which is not a person? That's one. Secondly, I know that sometimes we have to adopt international standards, but we must tweak them to suit our local situation. How many persons do you know who usually catch buses have a spare car seat in their bag, so that if I stop to offer them a lift because rain is coming and no buses are on the road, they'll be able to pull it out, or I will be able to pull out the spare one I have in my vehicle. In places where they have these strict car seat laws, they have good public transport systems. We are well aware that ours is not like theirs, where you know that at every 8 o'clock, every half an hour, every hour, a bus will come past. We do not have that kind of system. And so we need to be mindful of the society in which we live. It means I cannot give my neighbor a lift who has a child or children because she doesn't have a spare car seat. She could not afford to buy a car, much less to have the car seat, because what sense does it make for her to have car seat if she doesn't have a car? And I don't have any young children, so I don't have any car seat. So I'm going to leave my neighbor, who I get along well with all the time, right, who I might need their help. I need to leave her walking with 2 children. Rain is about to fall, and I cannot stop to give her a lift, even if she sits in the back with the child. She's strapped in, and the child is strapped in with her, just like you do on an aircraft, and they're sitting behind the seat rather than in the center at the back seat. I don't think those things were taken into consideration. But you could answer me the first question. Thank you.
Okay, I guess the caller tuned in late because I did explain those scenarios before in the beginning of the show. However, my opinion, if I'm in a vehicle and the vehicle, I realize there's about to be an impact, my first instinct is to secure myself. My first instinct is to secure myself, because I'm not going to try to secure anybody else and not make sure that I am safe. So if you're in a vehicle with your child in your hand and you just happen to glimpse an impact, your first reflex action is either to cover your face, cover wherever you see the impact coming from, and then think after. I don't think you're going to be like, hey, hold the child. Some will. But even when you hold that child because of that impact, that doesn't mean you secure the child. Because the strength that you would have hold that child with in your hand, after that impact hits you, your body just release. If that child is in the car seat strapped in, even after the impact, the child is still strapped. Okay? So I don't know if I answer.
I don't know either, but I thought you were going to continue with the scenario of what if the person who gave the ride.
Oh, with the bus. Okay, now the police enforce the law. They don't just work based on how people feel, people's opinion, or what's not. We serve the public. If persons have concerns, as I said, we ask them that they put it in writing, their suggestions, and ways that they think it could reduce the fatalities or injuries to children if this is done. So not just come and give a suggestion and not help find a conclusion. Okay? So, yes, you have your concern, we have our concern, but at the end of the day, the police can only work with what is in the law. And the law gives provision for bus drivers, taxi drivers, public transport to have children transported without the car seat. So, if this person wants to go somewhere, they have the child, they have their luggage, call a bus, call a taxi, you know? And that taxi can come and collect you with that child, your luggage, and you're permitted to be transported in that vehicle without the car seat. And that's why the insurance rate for public transport vehicles are so high. Because now we're permitting someone to drive in that vehicle without car seat, so now the risk is greater. And that's why we explain, if a bus gets in an accident with a child that doesn't have in a car seat, the insurance will compensate that person once the insurance is valid. If you're in your private vehicle and something happens to that child didn't have on any car seat or anything like that, the insurance might have problems with their policy because you didn't exercise the safety precaution for that child. So if now that parent, your neighbor, answering the caller, your neighbor now needs compensation for their child because you said they weren't able to afford a chance or a car seat, so obviously they're going to can't afford the medical expenses. So now they're going to be pressuring you now. So from you being a good neighbor, you're going to be the bad neighbor for them. So to avoid these things in the future, we're not just look in front of us, look at the long picture. as I said, police officers should use their discretion, because we should look at it. What if it was our own? But with the discretion, we cannot be abusive with it, because if we're going to come in the year and say, hey, okay, we're going to permit persons, if they see somebody and they're giving them a lift, to give them a lift.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we stop somebody with a vehicle that the child doesn't have in a car seat, or the child is restrained with the seatbelt, they're going to use that same excuse to get away all the time. So from us solving a problem, we're going to create a bigger one.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing, officer. We're out of time. You're being commended for the way you answered that question there a while ago, and that's coming in from someone listening via the program.
Yes.
They're asking about the overseas number. We don't have an overseas number at the moment, but we'll get that sorted out. Unfortunately, though, we're out of time. We'll have to end our conversation here. I'll let you wrap up with the statistics as to why we're having these accidents in St. Kitts.
I don't have the stats for the accidents, because, well, the accidents, it would just generally show you how much accidents that have occurred. It wouldn't say it was because of speeding or if it was because of drunkenness or anything like that. It would just tell you the accident and the nature of the accident, whether it is fatal or non-fatal.
Okay.
So I didn't have the stats to say, well, accident is because of speeding or because of recklessness, because at the end of the day, it's just our opinion. Now we have to go to the court and prove that. Because I can charge someone for driving under the influence.
Right.
But when I go to the court, they could win the case.
Right.
But what I want to tell the persons is that drivers are not adhering, because last year, from January to today's date, 2024, we issued 363 speeding tickets. Now, for this year, from January 1st to today, we have issued 1,145 speeding tickets, so that's more than 3 times. And if we are increasing these fees, and the ratio is increasing, how could we pardon people or use our discretion or reduce these prices when we increase them, persons are increasing the stats? Same thing with the signs. Persons are seeing no right turns and just taking the right turns. Last year we gave 684 tickets for persons not complying with the traffic signs. And for this year so far, we have given 849. The stats are increasing. So we can't just come here because persons are crying out because of their pocket, but they're not listening to us. They're not acknowledging us. They're not adhering to the laws. So when we find that, okay, these stats are reducing, at least we could say, okay, we're doing something. They're listening to us. Then we could consider. But for us to go reduce the pricing, we're going to make these stats even more. And then the same public is who going to bash us and say the police not doing their job. But when they do their job, they're doing too much. So I just want to encourage persons to just drive safe, read the law. If you have a problem with the law, I always tell persons, we all vote. We all vote. Just how we could ask for an increase in minimum wage, ask for amendments with the laws. That's all I would say.
Thanks once again, and I'll see you next week.
Yes.
Guys, we gone over time, 6 minutes moving away from the hour of 9 o'clock. We're going to get right into our 9 o'clock report, Compliments to Grange.
I salute and applaud those who obey the traffic laws by setting good example for others to follow. You